Welcome back to Investing Talk Podcast, everybody. A new year, and the market is already giving us a lot to talk about.
A lot to talk about, indeed.
The S&P 500, it was hitting record highs in December,
Yeah,
and then things cooled off a little bit
right.
when the Fed kind of hinted that they might maybe slow down on cutting interest rates.
Yeah, it makes you wonder what they're thinking.
Makes you wonder what's next, right?
Exactly.
So besides, trying to figure out what the Fed is going to do next, what other market trends are you keeping an eye on?
Well, you can't ignore those big tech companies, the ones everyone's talking about.
Go back here.
Like
Yeah.
Alphabet, Amazon, Apple.
Oh, yeah, the Magnificent Seven, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like, they're doing so well. Earnings are strong, and they just seem to keep getting bigger.
They're definitely having a big impact on the overall market. But, I'm curious about something.
Yeah.
With those big companies doing so well,
Hmm.
does it make it harder for smaller companies to get noticed?
That's a great question, and it's something a lot of people are thinking about.
But, a lot of fund managers are predicting that U.S. equities are going to do really well this year.
Okay.
So that suggests that there's still room for smaller companies to grow and succeed, if they have a good story to tell.
So there's hope for the little guy. And speaking of companies with good stories, one we wanted to talk about today is SmartKem.
Ah, yes. Smart.
Ticker symbol SMTK.
Interesting company.
They've been making a lot of headlines lately
For good reason.
with their new display technology.
It's cutting-edge stuff.
What's the story there?
Well, they're working on these rollable, transparent MicroLED displays.
Wow.
Imagine like foldable phones that turn into these big tablet screens, or even car windshields. They can show you directions and stuff.
It's wild.
Yeah, it's the kind of technology that could totally change a bunch of industries.
It sounds like it's straight out of a sci-fi movie.
I know, right?
And the market seems to be pretty excited about it, too.
Definitely.
Didn't their stock jump like 12% or something when they announced their partnership with AU Optronics? AUO. Yes, that's right.
That was a pretty big deal for them, huh?
It was huge.
I mean, they're still a relatively small company,
True.
and they've been dealing with some financial challenges.
Yeah.
Like in their last earnings report, they reported losses and pretty high expenses.
That's true.
So for investors, that sounds a little risky.
I can understand why investors might be a little concerned.
Yeah.
But this partnership with AUO, it really changes things.
Oh, how so?
Well, AUO is a global leader in display manufacturing.
Right.
They've got the resources, the expertise to help SmartKem really scale up their production and bring those costs down.
Ah, I see. So it's not just about the technology itself. It's about having a partner who can help them actually make and sell these displays on a larger scale.
Exactly. That's why the market reacted so positively.
Hence.
Investors are betting that this partnership can help SmartKem turn their amazing technology into a real product that people can buy.
So it's all about potential.
A lot of potential.
But I mean, their last earnings report still showed losses.
Yes.
How are they going to deal with those financial hurdles?
Well, they are still operating at a loss, but it's not all doom and gloom.
Okay.
For one thing, they did generate some revenue. Not a huge amount.
How much?
$27,000.
Okay.
But revenue nonetheless.
Yeah, that's true.
And they've also been working strategically to meet Nasdaq's equity requirements, which had been a concern,
Oh, yeah.
They raised $6.6 million, which puts their stockholders' equity above that threshold.
So they were walking a bit of a tightrope there, but it sounds like they managed to stay balanced.
For now.
Yes.
For now.
But here's where it gets really interesting.
Okay, I'm listening.
Their price-to-sales ratio is super high.
Price-to-sales ratio. Remind me what that is again?
It basically means that investors are willing to pay a premium for this stock, even though they're not profitable yet.
So they're betting on future growth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And with this UO partnership, if they can scale production and get those manufacturing costs down,
Yeah.
their gross margins could really improve. So the market is saying, we see the potential, even if the numbers aren't perfect yet.
That's a great way to put it.
Okay, so it's a bit of a gamble, but a potentially exciting one.
Absolutely. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of their technology, let's take a quick look at some key indicators from a technical analysis perspective.
Okay, let's do it. What are the charts telling us about SmartKem?
Well, the 50-day moving average is around $3.34.
Okay.
And SmartKem is trading above that right now, which is a good sign.
So things are moving in the right direction.
So far, so good.
Yeah.
But the 200-day moving average is at $4.66.
Okay.
So it's still got some work to do to get back to those previous highs.
So mixed signals, but overall leaning positive.
I'd say so, yes.
Okay, that's good to hear.
Mhm.
But You mentioned something earlier about the RSI being in overbought territory.
Right. The RSI, or Relative Strength Index, is at 75.1 right now.
Okay, for those of us who don't speak Wall Street, what does overbought actually mean?
Basically, it means that the stock has been going up really strong,
Yeah.
and it might be due for a bit of a pullback or a correction.
Oh, okay. So it might go down a bit.
It's possible,
Yeah.
yeah. It doesn't necessarily mean the long-term story has changed, but investors should be prepared for some ups and downs.
So it's like SmartKem is that new band that everyone's loving right now,
Yeah.
but we're waiting to see if they can release a whole album of hits.
I like that analogy.
Lots of potential,
Definitely.
but still some questions.
Exactly.
So we need to keep an eye on them and see how they do.
Keep a close eye on their cash flow, their profitability.
Yeah.
Those are really important metrics.
Okay, so SmartKem sounds like a really fascinating company to watch.
It is.
They're doing some really innovative stuff,
No doubt about it.
but there are also some risks involved.
That's the nature of investing, I suppose.
Before we wrap up this first part of our look at SmartKem, can you give our listeners the big picture takeaway? What should they be thinking about?
Sure. So SmartKem is a company that's really pushing the boundaries of what's possible with display technology.
Yeah.
Their partnership with AUO is a big deal, give them a real chance to succeed.
Right.
But they still have a lot to prove.
And investors need to be aware of both the potential and the risks.
Exactly. It's a classic high-risk, high-reward situation.
Well said.
Hmm.
So to all of our listeners out there, stay tuned for the next part of our show, where we'll dig deeper into SmartKem's technology and really explore what makes it so special.
We're looking forward to it.
We'll be back in just a moment with more Investing Talk podcast.
You know what's really fascinating about SmartKem?
Yeah.
Is that they're part of this bigger trend
What trend?
where companies are pushing the limits of technology.
Like a race to the future.
Exactly. Everyone wants to be the one to invent the next big thing.
And for investors, that creates some really exciting opportunities.
It does. But of course, there are risks too.
Right. Not every company that tries something new is going to succeed.
Exactly. Some will soar, some will fail.
So investors have to be really careful.
They do. They need to figure out which companies are the real deal and which ones are all hype.
Okay, so let's get back to SmartKem and their MicroLED technology.
Right.
This isn't just about making our phones look cooler, is it?
No, not at all.
I mean, these displays could change a lot of different industries.
Yeah. Think about healthcare, for example.
Okay.
Imagine these flexible displays built into medical devices,
Oh, wow.
giving doctors and patients real-time information.
That's incredible.
Or in cars, you could have transparent displays on windshields.
So you could see directions and stuff right on your windshield.
Exactly.
That would be amazing.
The possibilities are really endless.
It's mind-blowing. It makes you realize that this is way bigger than just a better TV.
It is.
SmartKem seems like they're really at the forefront of a major technological shift.
They are, but
But let's be realistic here for a second.
okay.
We've talked about their financials, the fact that they're still losing money.
Right.
What has to happen for them to turn things around?
Well, the key is to take their technology and turn it into products that people will actually buy.
Right. They have to show that they can scale up production and make these displays efficiently.
Exactly. It's not enough to just have a great idea. They have to make it a reality.
So it's where the rubber meets the road.
Exactly. And that's why their partnership with AUO is so important.
Right. AU.
AU Optronics.
They're a big deal in the display industry, right?
They have the factories, the distribution networks, everything SmartKem needs to reach a mass market.
It's like they found a mentor to help them navigate the business world.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. But
But is there a downside to that? Could they become too reliant on AUO?
that's a valid concern. There's always that risk.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, this partnership gives them credibility, access to expertise, and potentially a faster path to profitability.
So it's a calculated risk.
It is.
Okay.
Yes.
So let's say they do manage to ramp up production and get these displays into stores.
Okay.
What's the competition like?
The display market is tough.
Yeah.
You've got big players like Samsung and LG.
Right.
But SmartKem has an edge.
What is it?
MicroLED technology.
What makes that so special?
Well, MicroLED displays are brighter, more energy efficient, and they last longer.
Oh, wow.
They're also super thin and flexible.
Which opens up a lot of design possibilities.
Exactly. They're really the next generation of display technology.
So they have the potential to be better than what we have now.
They do, and that's why investors are so excited about them.
It sounds like SmartKem could really shake things up.
They could, but
But there's still challenges, right?
of course MicroLED is still pretty new.
Yeah.
And making enough displays to meet demand, that's a huge challenge.
So it's one thing to have a great idea,
It is.
but it's another thing entirely to make it work on a large scale.
Exactly. And there are always questions about yield rates,
Yield rate.
the percentage of displays that they can make without any defects.
Ah, okay, so they have to make sure they can produce high-quality displays consistently.
They do. It's all about consistency and reliability.
So it's not just about the tech, it's about good business practices too.
Absolutely. And that's what separates the successful companies from the ones that struggle.
So for our listeners who are thinking about investing in SmartKem,
Yeah.
what are the most important things to watch for?
Well, first and foremost, their financial performance.
Okay.
Are they getting closer to being profitable? Are they managing their spending?
Right, because even the coolest technology won't save a company that's running out of money.
Exactly. And look for signs of progress in key areas like production partnerships and customer adoption.
So it's about seeing those real-world signs that the company's making progress.
Exactly. And remember, investing in a company like SmartKem, this is a long-term game.
It's not a quick way to get rich.
No, it's about believing in their vision and their ability to execute over time.
Okay, so patience is key.
It is. And if you're comfortable with a little bit of risk, SmartKem could be a very rewarding investment.
It's fascinating to see a company like this that's on the verge of something potentially groundbreaking. Okay, so we've talked about their financials, their technology,
Yeah.
the competition.
Yeah.
But before we move on, I'm curious about the technical analysis side of things.
Sure.
You mentioned some key moving averages earlier, like the 50-day and the 200-day.
Right.
And SmartKem is trading above the 50-day, but below the 200-day.
That's right.
What does that tell us?
Well, it means that the stock has been doing well recently, but it's still recovering from a previous decline.
So it's kind of a mixed signal.
It is. It shows positive momentum, but also the need for further growth.
Cautious optimism.
I'd say so.
Fair
And we
point.
also talked about the RSI,
Right, the RSI,
which is still in overbought territory.
meaning it might go down a bit.
There's a chance of a correction. Yeah.
So investors should be prepared for some ups and downs.
Always.
Are there any other technical tools that can help us understand SmartKem's stock movements?
Sure, volume is always important.
Volume.
How much the stock is being traded.
Oh, okay.
A big increase in volume could mean something's about to happen.
Like a clue.
It could be, but it could also be nothing.
So I have to investigate further.
Exactly. And then there are charting patterns.
Charting pattern.
Yeah, like the head and shoulders pattern or the double bottom.
What are those?
They're visual patterns on the chart
Okay.
that can sometimes give us clues about future price movements.
So it's like looking for patterns in the stock's past behavior.
Right, and using those patterns to try to predict what might happen next.
That sounds a little complicated.
It can be, but there are lots of resources available online and in libraries.
Like what?
Websites like Investopedia and TradingView, they have great educational content.
Oh, cool.
And there are tons of books written by experienced traders.
So if someone wants to learn more about technical analysis, there's plenty of information out there.
Definitely.
Okay, so we've only scratched the surface of SmartKem's story today.
We have.
They have amazing potential, but they're also risks.
Right.
Investors need to do their research
Absolutely.
and understand what they're getting into.
It's a classic case of high risk, high reward.
And it'll be very interesting to see how their journey unfolds.
It will.
Welcome back to Investing Talk Podcast.
Yeah.
We've spent this episode getting to know SmartKem.
A company with a really fascinating story.
Yeah, they're trying to do something really innovative with their MicroLED display technology.
And they've got that big partnership with AUO,
Right, AU Optronics.
which could really help them succeed.
But they're also facing some challenges.
Like any company at this stage of development.
Exactly. So for our listeners who are interested in SmartKem and maybe thinking about investing in them,
Yeah.
what are the key takeaways?
Well, I think the most important thing to remember is that this is a long-term investment.
It's not about getting rich quick,
No, it's about believing in their vision and being patient.
because there will be ups and downs along the way.
Definitely their stock price is likely to be volatile.
So buckle up.
Right, and do your research.
Don't just jump in because of the hype.
Exactly. Read their financial reports, learn about their business model, understand the competition.
The more you know, the better.
Absolutely. Investing always involves risk.
And SmartKem is a high-risk, high-reward situation.
So you need to be comfortable with that level of risk.
Don't invest more than you can afford to lose.
Right. Diversification is key.
It's been great having you on the show today.
It's been a pleasure.
I know our listeners have learned a lot from your insights.
I hope so.
And for everyone listening out there, we hope you enjoyed this episode of Investing Talk Podcast.
We encourage you to do your own research on SmartKem, ticker symbol SMTK.
And form your own conclusions.
Remember, investing is a journey.
And we're all learning together.
If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to our podcast
Share it with your friends.
and leave us a comment.
We love hearing from you.
Until next time, happy investing, everyone.
See ya.